Nothing else? All right, perfect. Well, we're going to move forward. So we're going to jump into step number one, committing to self-mastery. Notice it's step number one. There's 6 steps. We're going to go through all of them. Commit to self-mastery. Possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make you the master of you. When you commit to self-mastery, you will know your goals, you'll know your strengths and your weaknesses, and you'll know how to work with both your strengths and weaknesses to seek and master the necessary knowledge, skills, and habits to reach your goals. That kind of alludes into step number 5, I believe it is. Make learning base be the foundation of your growth plan. If you're coming to classes to learn things that you don't need, might be a waste of your time. We'll dig into that a little later, but when you think about self-mastery, like what does it mean to you? John, what does it mean to you?
So for me, it's I know what I know what I don't know, and I know the difference between the two. And I'm clear on who I am, and I'm clear on who I'm not, and I'm not trying to be who I'm not. But it's just to me, this is all about emotional intelligence. I'm not going to fake something.
Yep.
I'm a master like the things that I know. Who asked why you're not on TikTok? I don't know it, and I don't want to get distracted by something else that it doesn't interest me. It doesn't excite me. Like I don't really want to know about it. I don't care that you think it's. I don't need to do that. It's not for me. So I'm clear on who I am, and I'm clear on what I'm about, and that clarity, I can block out all the other noise. It's not for me. Not my path.
As he said that, does anything else come to mind for you all? Does anybody have a hand up to share?
No.
Okay, just a good stretch. All right, I like it.
I was thinking when you think sometimes I feel the same things may not be for me, but I need to try different things because certain things work. It just works. No, after you can see that certain things work.
So, secret, everything works if you work it. Everything works if you work it. The challenge that a lot of us have is we're trying to do too many things. We're trying to do things that don't align with who we are, right? Like if John just woke up tomorrow and started to do TikTok, he probably wouldn't be very good at it.
It'd be funny. It'd be fake.
It'd be fake. However, you take my 18-year-old daughter, if she woke up and did TikTok, she's already crushing that, right? Like it's already in her powerhouse. Like that's part of self-mastery. Committing to self-mastery is knowing what you're good at, knowing what you're interested in, and being okay with the things that you're not good at. Now, with the exception of the necessary things. Because you guys know we can't say scripts anymore, right?
No.
We can't say scripts anymore.
Why?
There's a lawsuit, all that nonsense. I don't want to get into all that. But we're not allowed to say scripts. So we say conversation frameworks. So when I start to say conversation frameworks, you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Just think scripts. Okay? Conversation framework. So that's like the exception. Like to be in any sales position or in a relationship or parent, you have to get good at your conversation frameworks, right? Like that's kind of the thing. Like, that's the one exception. If you're not good with that, like you have to get better at that. But outside of that, find what you're good at. Find what you enjoy doing and do that.
But also there's so many things. I mean, you're talking about Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, you know.
And you're just talking about social media.
There's just so many things that I get overwhelmed personally. So I'd rather kind of pick one or two, get really good at those 2 things before I add another element to
That's
it.
That's it. That's exactly. That's exactly what we're saying.
Yeah.
And I would say that you're really good at your database in a way that you like to work your database, in a proven way that you like to work your database. Figure out the other 2 things and forget the rest. Forget everything else.
Yeah.
And I think the big word here is the first one. It's commit. Like, are you really committed to mastering whatever this thing is? Like, are you really committed to it? Like, meaning like you're willing, because you can only commit. Honestly, you can only commit to so many things. Right. But there's not many things that we can actually commit to mastering. How long does it take to master something?
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours.
So how many things can we freaking master? Like, that's about 5 years. By the way, if you work. So,
Brandon, is there something you'd like to add?
All right, that's been my thing right now, right? So coaching baseball, talking agent, doing everything I do. That 10,000 hours thing, right? So it came from Emily.
Actually
And
came from Outliers,
well,
the book Outliers.
yes, reading Outliers is great, but my epiphany came when I was in QL, right? And it's that thought process of who is molding you for everything that you go through, right? So I look at being a parent. Being a parent, the one thing that is shaped everything that I think about being a parent is my younger brother. Called him one day, he had his daughter way before I had kids. And I asked how my niece is doing and so on and so forth. And his answer was, oh man, she's just a happy little girl. And that was so simple to me. It just meant as a father, all I gotta do is make sure my kids are happy. So that's what I live up to as a father. I look at who do I look up to in business? Who do I look up to for my finances? Who do I look up to for spiritual, right? All those things, there's some God that is there. Going back to mastery. You have 24 hours in a day. If it takes 10,000 hours to master something, how are you spending every single minute of that day? That's a minute going towards you mastering something. Whether it's mastering being the best at your craft, whether it's mastering avoiding making a phone call, whether it's mastering figuring out how to text people back versus give them a call back. By the way, you do answer my phone call. Not call.
He answered mine too. He answered mine too.
If you get in there, if you make the important now. Yeah.
But I think about that, and this is when I go through 6-person perspective, this is my favorite one because that is what I'm stuck on right now. Like all the kids I'm coaching baseball, I tell them every day, practice 10,000 hours. What are you spending your time doing right now? Practice. Are you working on getting better at your craft? Are you working on improving something? Just realize that every minute that we have is so valuable and precious. How are you using that to be better at whatever it is that you want to be better at? This isn't just about business. This is just about who we want to be in life, right? Life.
Well, and the interesting thing about, because I coached, my kids were younger, I coached them as well. And there were some kids that were committed to mastering it. And there's some kids that honestly could give two craps about mastering it. And I didn't last long as a coach because parents yelled at me. I didn't want to play the kids that weren't committed. Like there were some kids, they thought that this was just a playground and whatever. But I had to put them in for a certain number of minutes every single game. And I'm like, and then the parents would yell at me because their kids are not playing time. I'm like, well, you know, they don't even show up. Like they don't practice, they don't listen, they don't apply anything. So you see, so I think it's like a reality check. Like you can only commit to so many things. Are you actually committed to it? Or are you just kind of like, I just want to kind of.
I want to
You
go.
gotta go to the master. You spending that time committed to the things that you're committed to, or are you spending more time lying to yourself about your commitments?
There you go. And here, it's so nuanced. Everybody know Grant Cardone is. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Grant Cardone, but and if you are, it's okay. Every now and then he drops something. I'm like, wow, this is actually really good.
Yeah.
And I heard something in his book, Be Obsessed or Be Average. And he says, it's a quote from his father. He said, you don't have to like what you do in order to love what you do. Okay? You don't have to like what you do in order to love what you do. Now, we don't have to like getting better at conversation frameworks in order to love selling a lot of homes and living the lifestyle that we choose to live and providing the lifestyle for the people who are important to us. So while there are some things that we might not necessarily like, they are the necessary evil, if you will, we do have to do that. However, if you're on your path to self-mastery, if you're finding that your passion isn't in it, you're not excited about the thing or the outcome, it's not something that's worth you spending the time to master. Right? Did you guys get that? Did I communicate that?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Like, so just, if you get this pit in your stomach and you just hate the idea of doing the thing and the idea of the outcome doesn't get you through it, you should drop it. Drop it.
As long as you gave it 100%. Like when my kids were growing up, I was like, okay, let's try a lot of different things to figure out what you enjoy. But if you make the commitment, give it your all, then you can say, I tried golf, or I tried tennis, I tried basketball, I gave it my all, and then realize it's not something I wanna do. This is go back to Gary, like, if you might do this. So if you understand the self-mastery, you understand that you don't actually have enough time to master everything. The key in this is knowing what to master. Because you have a choice, like you have a choice. So it's getting clarity around what things do I need, what are the most important things? And there's done the that I need to master, because I can't master everything. I can't master like AI and ChatGPT and Instagram and TikTok. I learned how to do a reel the other day and I felt so old because somebody had to show me how to do a reel. It's not something I'm going to choose to master, but if I can stay in my gift zone, guess what I'll be able to do? I'll be able to master that thing. When you can master something, you become valuable to the marketplace. So if I become valuable to the marketplace, that usually means that I get paid money to do those things. So then what I can do is I can outsource the things that I did not master to somebody else, so that they can wake up and master that. So I chose not to master changing my oil. Like, I don't want to deprive somebody else, that's their gift. Like, I wake up every day, I'm like, dude, I want to give somebody else that gift. I don't want to master that. Now, that sounds counterintuitive, to I think the way that we're programmed to think. And we're all programmed to think a certain, like, I'm a husband, I'm a father, and okay, you're the dad, so you're supposed to know how to do all these things, change oil, change tires, do the yard work, like all that stuff that we're programmed to believe in. And I'm like, who says who? Once again, who made the rules that said because I'm a male, I should know how to change oil? Like I didn't read, like nobody gave me that playbook and said, okay, here, male, this is your job, you have to master these things. So I look at everything I do and say, okay, do I want to master it? Am I passionate about it? Does it lead me to my goal? And if the answer is no, it's like, okay, I'm gonna find somebody else, which goes back to the relationship, to master that thing. Because I can't grade it everything.
So, no, you're good. So, I want to talk about putting the pieces together here. So, in the material gives us, it says the first step of the puzzle is to identify your goal. We were already talking about that just a few minutes ago. And so in the material it says, let's say your goal is to master prospecting, for instance. Now, number two, the thing we have to figure out is, what are you really, really good at? And what do you have to get better at in order to move yourself forward? So the example in the book is they're really good with people. Has anyone here ever said, oh man, you get me face to face with a person and I'm good, I'm golden from there? Anybody ever said that? I think every realtor I've ever met has said that. Like, I'm really good face to face. Well, yeah, we're all really good face to face because that's the highest form of communication, right? Face to face, having a two-way conversation. So the weakness here in this example is uncomfortable bringing up business. Anybody? Does that sound familiar to anyone? Thank you. Safe place, honesty, transparency. Thank you. So like this person wants to master prospecting. They're really good with people, but they're uncomfortable bringing up business. All right. So the plan, practice conversation frameworks, take bold, call sphere of influence. Now I see here everywhere bold is back. Yeah, it's on your table. There you go. If you want to get better at prospecting so you can generate the income that you desire, I would suggest attending bold. That wasn't intentional. Oh, look, I mentioned bold. People start walking out. Goodness gracious. Brandon, what the heck is going on over here?
That's our broker too. Anyone getting up?
Good. Yes, gracious. Wow. My wife says I'm really good at clearing the room. As I start hitting my kids with the realness and they disappear. It holds true here too. All right, so another exercise. And this requires groups. I would say 3 over here, and the 4 of you could kind of get together. I want you to get together and list 3 obstacles and just kind of talk 3 obstacles that you think could get in the way of you hitting your goals that you starred on the other page. So I want you to kind of.
Are we still talking about that one goal that you had us? Okay.
Yes, the one you starred on the other
Okay.
page or another section. I want you to get together and just kind of talk about what obstacles you could foresee getting in the way of you hitting that goal. I want you to find 3 obstacles each. All right, so you've shared obstacles now. You've shared 3 obstacles. I want you to dig deeper. I want you to share with your partner the strengths that you have that you feel will help you overcome each obstacle. Like, what strength do you possess that will help you overcome each obstacle? Then I want you to share a weakness that you have that might get in the way of achieving this or overcoming this obstacle. So a strength and a weakness for each of these obstacles. You guys with me?
Yeah.
All right, continue the conversation. All right, I want you to start talking with your partner about how you can, what skills you can develop on your weakness so that you can conquer the obstacles. And then is there something you can master that will help? And write all this down. Okay, so we've identified a goal. We've identified actually 3 goals that we have for our life and our business, or our business. We've identified 3 obstacles that could get in the way of that goal. We've identified our strengths and our weaknesses, like the strengths that are going to help us push through, the weaknesses that could get in the way of us achieving our goals. And then we've talked about strategies, things that we could learn or master that would help us move forward. Who has some ahas they would like to share from this exercise so far? Yes, ma'am.
Almost all of my goals, can be achieved if I sort of go after that foundational thing of my mindset and shifting that mindset. As soon as I shift my mindset and get myself motivated, everything is possible, everything.
I have goosebumps.
So,
I have
Yeah.
goosebumps. Thank you.
that's the core.
Yeah, it starts with how we think, right? It all starts there. Thank you so much for sharing that. How awesome is that to have that realization? It's amazing what happens when you get purposeful about putting things on paper and see it, right? Anything else? Any other ahas from this activity? I had an aha. I just shared with John. The aha that I had was, it's almost like they're purposeful about putting this content together because we went straight through this activity. You've identified some things that you need to work on. And next, we're going to talk about the 80-20 principle.